You know what I love most about the Joker? His backstory is so mysterious. In most comics, cartoons, and movies, the questions about his origin are left unanswered. No one knows for sure how the Joker came to be. He just exists. And that's exactly how DC Comics wants it to be. But here's the thing. There have been so many different takes on his origin that the ambiguity is almost by design. Sometimes he's a failed comedian, sometimes he's a gangster, and sometimes he's just pure chaos with no explanation at all. Take, for example, the reveal that there wasn't just one, but 3 Jokers in the comics. That's right, 3 different individuals had been committing crimes as the Clown Prince of Crime all this time, making his history even more confusing. But honestly, isn't that exactly what the Joker would want? From the constantly changing stories about his scars in The Dark Knight, to The Killing Joke, one of the most iconic Batman stories ever, we're led to believe we're finally seeing his true origin. But then it's all brushed aside by one simple line.
If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice.
So we may never truly know the Joker's origin in the comics, but what about the real-life story behind the character? How was he created? Here's where it gets interesting. There's as much ambiguity in his creation as there is in the comics. The Joker made his debut in Batman #1 in 1940. Like most early Batman villains, he was originally supposed to be killed off in his first appearance. Bill Finger, the genius behind much of Batman's mythos, didn't believe in recurring villains. His philosophy? If you go up against the Dark Knight, there's no coming back. In fact, the Joker even accidentally stabs himself during his first fight with Batman. But DC editor Whitney Ellsworth saw potential and didn't want to waste such a great character. He insisted that the Joker survive, and as a result, the Clown Prince returned. Quickly, he became Batman's arch nemesis and one of the most iconic villains in all of DC Comics. But the big question remains, how did the Joker come to be? What inspired him? Who was responsible? Most versions of the story point to the 1928 silent film The Man Who Laughs, which features a character named Gwynplaine, played by Conrad Veidt. Gwynplaine, disfigured by a surgeon, is left with a permanent smile. Sound familiar? Bill Finger, who was a fan of foreign films, later used that eerie grin as inspiration for the Joker's appearance. But that's just the visual side of things. Who actually created the Joker? Well, there are 3 different accounts, and each offers a slightly different version of the story. Let's start with Bill Finger's version. In a 1966 interview for the fanzine Batmania, Finger said that Bob Kane, the other co-creator of Batman, approached him with a playing card featuring a Joker. Kane had sketched an early version of the character, but Finger wasn't impressed. It looked too much like a generic clown. Finger then suggested basing the Joker on The Man Who Laughs, and together they refined the look. White skin, red lips, and green hair, giving the Joker a more sinister vibe. Sounds simple enough, right? But there's more to the story. The playing card Kane showed Finger, it didn't come out of nowhere. It was actually Jerry Robinson, an unsung hero of early Batman comics, who came up with that. Robinson, an artist who worked behind the scenes for Kane as a ghost artist, contributed much more than just ink to Batman's world. Robinson wanted to create a villain as iconic as Batman himself. His idea? A murderous psychopath with a twisted sense of humor. After spotting a deck of playing cards at home, he sketched a Joker card and pitched the idea to Kane. The next morning, Kane loved it, and that's when they brought Finger in to help flesh out the character. Robinson firmly believed he'd created the Joker, and that Kane's drawing came after his concept sketch. But wait, there's still one more story to tell. Bob Kane's version. Now, Bob Kane had a notorious ego. His version of events, well, let's just say it's a bit self-serving. Kane often claimed full credit for creating Batman, Robin, and yes, the Joker. He went on record saying he came up with the Joker entirely by himself, despite evidence showing it was a collaborative effort between him, Finger, and Robinson. So what's the real story? Who truly created the Joker? The truth is, we may never know for sure. Just like the Joker's own backstory, his creation is shrouded in mystery, with multiple conflicting stories and different creators staking their claim. And maybe that's exactly how it should be, because if there's one thing we've learned about the Joker, it's that his origins aren't meant to be straightforward. His lack of a clear backstory makes him more terrifying. He's not someone you can understand or rationalize. He's the embodiment of anarchy, and that's why he's endured for so long. He's a reflection of our deepest fears. Fear of the unknown, fear of madness, and fear that, like him, we're all just one bad day away from losing it. In the end, the Joker's real origin is just as chaotic and enigmatic as the character himself. And honestly, that's perfect.